What's up, party people? Episode 23. It's Thursday, June 17th. That's right. It is June 17th. I always got to double check just to make sure. I don't know my dates anymore. Got a wedding coming up. It's just kind of like,
Wait till you have kids.
Yeah. You don't even know what year it is. Yeah,
it's hot outside. It must be summer.
Yeah,
okay.
It makes about sense. So, Brooksy and I decided to jump on a podcast here because, look, we're friends, but we're not always going to agree on every baseball subject, just like any other person. But
we agree on this situation. We just disagreed on one thing. We agree on this situation.
And what is this situation we're talking about?
The foreign substance for pitchers.
That's right.
Sorry, I took your job. Go.
No. You're good, brother. I think that's what makes us great, though, is we can disagree, we can banter, but we know that we respect each other enough to know that there are different sides. And, you know, maybe one of us is 100% correct, maybe we're not, but we both understand each other's sides. And that's
the point of a podcast. It's two different opinions.
Right.
If we agreed on everything, it'd be pretty fucking boring.
And I want to preempt it with this. Obviously, Will Middlebrooks has a lot more, his words hold a lot more weight. That's the truth. No, it's you're laughing, but it's facts. And I played college baseball. I used college baseballs. I mean, the actual baseball itself. Now, college baseballs are not the same as Major League baseballs. That said, we did in our practices, in our inter-squad games, we did use Major League baseballs because we had kind of connections with different Major League coaches. And
why did you? Why would you use something you're not going to use in the game? I'm just curious.
It's a good question. So we played around with a handful of different. So we used Pico's Leagues balls. We used it was honestly, it had to do with, sometimes it was just equipment, like what connections we had. Like maybe we ran out of NAIA balls. Gotcha. And so we had a connection, you know, our head coach knew a Pico's League guy. So we got a handful of Pico's League. Sometimes it was just resources, whatever we had. But I've used both, and there's a significant difference between baseballs in different leagues. If we're talking about Pico's League, high school, college, Major League baseballs, there's a major difference. And Tyler Glasnow touched on the differences in baseballs and the adjustments he made, which created some backlash, to say the least.
I think like it's ridiculous. Like, I have used sticky stuff before. It's ridiculous that like it seems like this whole public perception of like, oh, it's just like select few of people. Like your favorite pitcher probably 50 years ago was using something too. Like if you felt these balls, how inconsistent they were, like you have to use something. So in the past, my like substance of choice is sunscreen and rosin. Like just nothing egregious, something to where I can get a grip on the ball so it doesn't feel dusty. But 2 starts ago against the Nationals, I went cold turkey, nothing. And before that start, I remember when all this stuff came out, I was talking to people and talking to doctors, and they were like, the thing that maybe MLB doesn't realize or that players don't realize is like, what is the injury? Like, what is the prevention of, like, maybe it'll add to injuries. And in my mind, I was like, that sounds dumb. That sounds like an excuse a player would use to make sure he can use sticky stuff. But I threw to the Nationals with nothing. I don't use sticky stuff I don't use spider tack. I don't need more spin. I have huge hands. I spin the ball fine. I want grip. I did well against the Nationals, probably one of the best starts I had all year. I woke up the next day and was like, I am sore in places that I didn't even know I had muscles in. Like I felt completely different. I switched my fastball grip and my curveball grip. I've thrown it the same way for however many years I played baseball. I had to put my fastball deeper into my hand and grip it way harder. And I had to, instead of holding my curveball at the tip of my fingers, I had to dig it deeper into my hand. So I'm like choking the shit out of all my pitches. My cue I used to use with Snyder was hold the ball like an egg, like nice and loose, be loose. That's out of the window. So I now have to develop a new cue. I have to develop something where I can't hold the ball light anymore. I have to dig it deep into my hand. So I'm taking it, and you have to think, I'm not a doctor. I know you guys probably know that. But I'm taking a fastball. I'm squeezing the ball twice as hard. So all of this is I'm recruiting all these muscles, and I'm taking my arm as hard as I can, throwing the ball. So I'm going from like a flexed muscle to letting a ball go. And like I said, I was like, maybe it's not going to, I don't think it'll lead to any injuries. But waking up after that start, I was like, okay, this sucks. Something is weird here. And then that same feeling is persisting all week long. And then I go into my start yesterday, and that same feeling just, it pops or whatever the hell happened to my elbow. Like I feel it, something happens. And I'm sitting out there just like, you got to be fucking kidding me. The whole day yesterday, I'm sitting there trying to get a grip on a ball. And I'm not trying to blame anyone. I'm not trying to say like, oh, this is all MLB's fault. Like they got thrown into this situation too. They're doing the best they possibly can to navigate around this. They're trying to make this fair for people. I understand that, but you can't, whether you want us to not use sticky stuff or not is fine. Fine. Do it in the off season. Give us a chance to adjust to it. But I just threw 80 something, 70 whatever innings. And then you just told me I can't use anything in the middle of the year. I had to change everything I've been doing the entire season, everything out of the window. I have to start doing something completely new. And then I'm telling you, I truly believe that's why I got hurt.
Yeah. What baseball fans, I think, are baffled the most is they're like, oh, he admitted to cheating. Well, here's the thing. He was just very transparent, which fans aren't accustomed to from players or managers or trainers or front office. Like, baseball is very secretive, right? This sticky, I'm going to keep saying this over and again. This rosin and sunscreen, it's considered cheating, I guess. Ask anybody within the game.
Right.
No one will say that's cheating. It's literally been proven that it doesn't affect your spin rate like the other shit that is the issue. And I thought Glasnow did a very good. I know he was speaking on emotion as well because he's
Smart
just coming
individual.
out of it.
Smart individual. He
very smart and calculated. So he would
Yes.
never say something just to make it up because he's probably like, that would come back to me at some point. Like, he was very transparent and said, look, against the Nats a couple starts ago, all this had come to a head because it started around June 3rd when there were the rumblings of the league going to start enforcing this. They hadn't done it yet, but at that point he was like, all right, like, I'm a rosin sunscreen guy. I need to try to start getting used to this now if this is how I'm going to have to pitch. And he said he had his best outing all year. He said, I felt like I had my best stuff. I struck out 11 hitters. But after the game, I was sore. The next day, I was really sore. Throughout the next week, the next 4 or 5 days before my next start, I hadn't been that sore in years. So that makes you think. All right, then fast forward to this next start. Comes out early because he's feeling a tug, a pull. Anytime there's a tug or a pull in there, it's not good. Not good. Obviously, comes out, he has the slight tear and the flexor tendon. They're going to try to rehab it. Listen to me. He's getting Tommy John. No one has ever successfully rehabbed both of those injuries.
It's a very Mike Clevenger situation last year in the playoffs when he tried to pitch through the UCL injury, and it just did not work.
It didn't work. So I know a lot of people are saying he's just making excuses and this and that. What is he making an excuse for? Blowing his elbow out? He's not making an excuse. He's trying to explain to people who don't understand how slick these baseballs are, how much harder you have to grip it. Now, if this is your normal grip and you really have to grip it, you can feel how your forearm tightens up, right? You're really using those muscles. So I did a little research. The same muscles that you use to grip anything, a pen, phone, a tit, I don't care, like whatever it is, you're gripping.
What you do on your own time, brother.
Hey, man, I'm married. All right. Listen, what I'm getting at is the same muscles you use to grip a baseball are the same muscles that protect your UCL. If you're altering how you've always thrown a baseball, and people are saying, oh, did he cheat his whole life? No, but in college and in high school and in Little League, there's a lot bigger seams to grip the baseball. Right?
Not to mention, to say he's cheating when he's using sunscreen and rosin, which is legal, and up to this date. Up to this date. So that's where we agree, is that I don't believe that. I agree with you in saying that sunscreen and rosin should be legal, whereas now it is not legal anymore, according to these new Major League Baseball rules. If Major League Baseball,
we agree that Spider-Man Goop or Spider Tech and Pelican Grip should be banned.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is a thing too that people aren't thinking about. To enforce this, no one will ever put rosin and sunscreen inside of their glove, inside their belt. It will never be there, never be hidden behind your ear, nothing like that. It goes right on your wrist. You'll see pitchers always grab their wrist like this. That's where sunscreen goes. That's where rosin bag hits. There's your sticky area. There's your stick. Now I can grip the baseball. My hands are sweaty, but I can grip it. If someone is digging in between their glove or behind their ear or inside their belt, that is a substance that is not rosin and citrate. Tough to figure that one out, wasn't it? Let's ban everything.
You know what I want to see? I want to see.
I got one more thing.
No, go.
I got one more thing.
Go off.
So you're telling me someone is going to use sunscreen and rosin is going to get a 10-game suspension. Yet you can use your own setup camera feeds to relay signs to a hitter so he knows what pitches are coming, and you don't get one day of suspension. Not one game. Not one of those players got punished. The coaches got punished, but not the players who are actually doing it and got a ring on their finger because of it. And this isn't an Astro rant. That's over. That's long gone. This is baseball being in a shit place right now. And it's run by Rob Manfred, who commissioner works for the owners. So I know where his loyalty is. This league is never going to run smoothly until we have someone who played be a commissioner. But that will never happen because, like I said, he works for the owners, and that would defeat the purpose of the owners being in charge here.
Just someone that's relatable.
Would
you be surprised?
How are you going to make improvement, like realistic, practical improvements to the game if you don't understand it? Or you've never fucking lived it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rob never played. I don't know his background, frankly. But I wouldn't be surprised.
He's showing me right now he doesn't know what the he's doing.
Exactly. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's never played an inning of baseball in his entire life.
So you got Raul Ibanez is actually working for the commissioner now.
That's right.
So at some point, I mean, this has got to be driving him nuts, especially the era he played in. Like, God, man, like it's making me sick because all these suits are ruining the game, and it's all somehow falling on the players, the guys who are out there that are playing the game, that make the game what it is. They're the ones taking the fall here. Oh, well, they're cheating. You know what? This has been going on for 150 years. Call it cheating, call it whatever. Hitters have never come out and said anything about it until this year when the ball was altered more than it's ever been altered in one season. Now you have spider tech, attack, all this shit with the raised seam, and now you got wiffle ball pitches. That's the issue. But who changed the ball? Who changes it every year? The owner of Rawlings, Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Major League Baseball made adjustments, so pitchers are going to adjust.
Correct.
It's back and forth. It's a give and take relationship.
So what's a solution here? I say you look at the KBO, you look at the NBL in Japan. They have created baseball that has a brand new baseball that has a little bit of tackiness to it. You telling me we're not capable of that? In the United States of America, we can't make a baseball. Copy their version. Do something. Don't ban everything, and then you're going to start running into problems with glass now, like what we just saw happen. Or somebody's going to get ear holed. You know, like, man, I keep getting these tweets. Well, this year, with all this sticky substance, they're still the most hit by pitches and this and that. You know why? Where do pitchers pitch now? Well, rewind up, right? But let's rewind to 2015, 16, 17, 18, before pitchers knew how to combat the launch angle swing.
Yeah, they used to pitch low and away. That's what they
low and away. So your miss was down or off the plate away.
Correct.
Now up and in is the hole in the swing. So your miss is going to be at people.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you watch the game, you'll understand this. But instead, people get on Twitter and just fire all this shit out, and they have no clue what they're talking about. Like, no clue. I don't expect fans to see the game how I see it, or see it how people that spent a lot of time in the game, or even you play college baseball. You're a baseball writer. You watch the baseball day in and day out and break it down. You understand how it works.
But it's different.
No, I'm saying you understand it, but you're not the loudest voice. If these voices that have no clue what they're talking about,
that's right.
That's okay, because we have a commissioner that clearly is on that same page. And I don't want this to be bashing the commissioner, but he's up baseball. Period.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more when it comes to, you good? You need to take a walk?
I need a cold shower.
I couldn't agree more when it comes to Manfred, and I couldn't agree more when it comes to Glasnow and his reasoning for why he got injured. Now, he explained that because they're forcing these pitchers to make an adjustment mid-season, that forces him to have to use different parts of his body. As you mentioned, he's having to put a little bit more grip on the ball, a little bit more stress on the UCL. That's not an excuse. That's a legit. I will say it's an excuse, but it is a legitimate
explanation.
Excuse. Absolutely. And for Major League Baseball to throw these rules at players mid-season after they've already been playing for 2 months is outrageous, ridiculous, and you're asking for injuries to happen. And that's exactly what is happening. Now you have Tyler Glasnow, who's on pace to be a Cy Young contender. Now he's going to probably miss the rest of the season for a first-place best record in Major League Baseball.
Probably going to miss next season too, Danny.
It could be. And so now you're...
No. Listen, these don't heal. He's getting Tommy John.
And so Major League Baseball is going to have to wear this. And they're hurting the product of the game because of it. Because they all of a sudden, mid-season... You know what it was? I got asked this last night. Why did Major League Baseball, Danny, why did Major League Baseball decide to make this rule change mid-season? Because Major League Baseball is soft, and the public opinion and the public criticism got too heavy for them to handle, and they hit the emergency button and said, holy shit, we've got to make a change.
No, they were getting too much. They were starting to get heat about them altering the baseball. Now we're not talking about that anymore.
Correct. Yes.
The best thing that could have happened for them was Tyler Glasnow blowout, and it'd be a superstar that do that. Unfortunately, for the league, they're going, "Whew, shit! Thank you, God." Like now we don't. Now it's on the back burner. People aren't talking about how we screwed this up. Now it's the player's fault. When he's making excuses, look at him. Look at him. He didn't cheat. He's just blaming. He's blaming us. It couldn't have happened better for the league.
So that's where we agree. We both agree that Major League Baseball up by making this rule change midseason. It's unfair, and you can't argue against that. To thrust that on the players midseason, it's unfair. It's asking for injuries. Now, this is where we disagree, and it's okay. Now, I put out there that if you need sticky substances, and I was specifically talking about spider tack. However, I did not specifically state that in my tweet, but I was referring to spider tack in different foreign substances, illegal substances. If you need those substances to succeed in the game of baseball, maybe you need to rethink how good of a pitcher you are. And by that, I mean, I'm not making the case that Garrett Cole needs spider tack to be successful. Okay, spider tack does not allow Garrett Cole to throw 98 miles per hour on average. Okay, that's God-given qualities right there. Now, if we magically see, and allow me to use Garrett Cole for the sake of the argument here. If Garrett Cole magically starts getting his tits lit and starts going 5 innings, 4 earned, 5 innings, 3 earned, and he's not quite the Garrett Cole that we've seen over the past 2 years, now that's going to shift my thinking in how I think of Garrett Cole as a pitcher. Are you following me here, Will?
I mean, I'm always following you.
I'm not saying that Garrett
I also
Cole's
think if you are accustomed to a certain thing, just like Tyler Glasnow, then it could be there could be a transition period where it might take him a couple starts to get
absolutely
back on track.
Absolutely.
But I don't think we're going to see someone like him fall off though. But like you said, it's just for the case. I get what you're saying.
So Trevor Bauer, now he completely denies. I don't know if you saw the video up on Twitter, but he said he uses sweat and rosin. He did a little demonstration to show how
you can do that.
Sweat and rosin. Absolutely. I can't right now. I don't have rosin with me. I just got my hands are a little sweaty, but that's about it. Now I'm looking at a guy like Trevor Bauer, and I don't mean to single out Bauer right now, but I'm looking at a guy like Trevor Bauer that has increased his RPMs on his spin rate by 500x in the last 2 seasons.
Right.
Massive increase. And now you've seen him in his last start, and he really struggled, giving up 6 runs against a Texas Rangers ball club that is not very good. So my point is this. These are the best players in the world. In Major League Baseball, the best players in the world are playing right now in Major League Baseball. However, these new rules could possibly expose players for whatever they were doing prior to these new rules. Okay, so if we see a guy like Trevor Bauer, and now we're seeing him struggle a little bit, and by struggle, I don't mean they're going to send him down to AAA. By struggle, I mean their numbers are starting to tick up. Like the ERA, it goes from 2.5 to 3.5. Then I start to think, okay, it's not organic what they're doing, or at least what they were doing prior to these new rules. To me, I want to see a guy dominate without spider tack, without foreign substances. I want to see the game get more and more organic. And if you're not able to compete and to succeed without those substances, I question your talent. I question how good of a pitcher you really are.
Trevor Bauer was a good pitcher before he came out and said, hey, I'm going to use this.
Correct. But he was not a Cy Young pitcher.
No, but I think, like, honestly, sunscreen and rosin is really sticky.
Absolutely. I use sunscreen and rosin when I played.
It's really sticky, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it was too much for me as an infielder. I was like, I needed something. Even rosin and sweat was plenty for me.
So I played in my entire career. I played in Central California. You have 100-degree heat throughout the summer, even in the springtime. I'm a 6'6", bulky dude that sweats a lot. So I had a hard time getting grip on a ball sometimes. That said, sunscreen and rosin was enough for me. I didn't need anything more than that. So for these players to, and I don't think they are, but if players are saying we need more than sunscreen and rosin, that's bullshit. You don't.
You don't, but that's just the nature of the beast is everybody's always trying to get an edge.
So can we agree in this regard that if a guy like Trevor Bauer, a guy like Garrett Cole, all of a sudden, again, just for the sake of the argument, if one of those guys starts to struggle because they're not allowed to use sticky stuff, can we both agree that maybe they aren't the pitcher we once thought they were?
If it's a significant struggle, then yeah, maybe. I don't know how long they've been using it.
I agree. There's going to be a transition period. I'm not going to judge Garrett Cole. Like Trevor Bauer had a really rough start last
time. Before all this came out,
I'm not judging him off one start.
They're also going to have bad starts here and there too.
Yeah,
like Garrett Cole, that same Texas team hit around Garrett Cole before all this stuff came out. That same Texas team who got no hit by Kluber later that series. That was the series. The first game of the series was Cole, and he got hit around for like 3 or 4 runs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to follow. I don't want to discredit guys yet, just because there wasn't a handful of guys using that shit. It was a lot.
And
a majority of guys use sunscreen and rosin, but there's still a lot of guys who use the heavier stuff.
In your experience, were there a handful of guys that used illegal? No, I'm not talking about sunscreen and rosin. I'm talking about
something more than sunscreen and rosin.
No need to call anybody out, but
I'm not. Oh, I never would, but a lot more than you can imagine.
So you think this is good for the game? Not necessarily the illegalization of sunscreen and rosin, but the illegalization of certain substances.
Is it good for the game? Nobody had a problem with it until now.
Right, but now you're seeing batting averages at an all-time low. You're seeing strikeouts at an all-time high.
I think that is a combination of things. I don't think that's because of spider tech. I think like defensive shifting. Literally over 42% of at-bats this year have had a defensive shift. 2015, they were right at 20%.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they know exactly where you're going to hit the ball. The longer you've been in the league, the more of a book they have on you. They know exactly where to stand. They know what blade of grass to stand on. It's crazy. Pitcher stuff is at an all-time high.
Correct.
I'm not even talking about sticky substance right now. I'm talking about the way pitchers train, the analytical breakdowns of your body to the smallest degree to get the most out of yourself.
The way they attack hitters.
Ceilings are higher now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and pitching. So this crossroad we're at in baseball between offense and defense is where launch angle took the lead there for a bit and was hammering guys, 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago. Pitching caught up, and now they're starting to pass them, or they are passing them because they learned how to combat that.
Mm-hmm.
And that has played into why guys do want more spin rate. It's not for their breaking ball, it's for their fastball because of where the hole in most guys' swings are. Now, the elite of the elite can still hit the high pitch for power. There's some contact guys who can just slap it the other way for a single or keep fouling it off till you make a mistake. But a majority of players are going to swing through it.
We can both agree that spider tack or foreign substances, whatever you want to say, it is a performance enhancer, not a performance maker. And so in that regard, I'm using hypothetically Barry Bonds for an example. Had he not used steroids, he probably still would have been a Hall of Famer. Everybody says he was fantastic before he started choosing.
Did Barry fail a test?
Not.
Okay.
Technically, no.
All right. Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer. I don't give a fuck.
I'm with you. I'm 100%.
I know you are. I know you are. I'm just saying, like.
You know I'm right there with you, baby.
Yeah.
You know that. But I'm just saying hypothetically, now with the illegalization of these foreign substances, we're going to see what these players are without them in a comparable way as to what we would have seen had Barry Bonds not used PEDs.
You know what's going to happen, though? They're going to go cold turkey and ban it. They're going to run into issues with the players union. Then they're going to say, okay, pine tar and sunscreen and rosin is okay. And then we're going to be right back where we started.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't snowball because we got a CBA coming up at the end of this year. And it's
the CBA is already, I don't know, man. This is going to not be good.
I hate that this is what we're talking about, you know?
I know. I was hoping to have like the off season off and not have to, talk about baseball much on CBS, but I'm going to be very busy this off season.
Yeah. It's like we talked about before, we want to hype up the players, hype up the game. And it's sad that all we talked about this season has been foreign substances.
You got a two-way player that's doing something that Babe Ruth was the last guy to do. You got DeGrom having one of the best seasons all time of any pitcher,
if not the best.
You got Fernando Tatis doing what he's doing after missing 2.5 weeks. Vlad Jr. You got all these juniors. It's kind of cool too. All these kids who grew up in the clubhouse just crushing baseballs right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about it because we got to talk about this shit, Rob.
Thanks, Rob. Stay hot, baby.
Yeah. Stop listening to our pod, Rob. Piece of shit.
Listen to the Wake and Rake pod every week. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We'll have more for you later this week. Until next time, party people. Peace.